Hello, and welcome to the podcast about Transformers comics, toys, and everything in between. I'm Onyx Prime with my two co-hosts here,
Hi, I'm Computron.
Hi, I'm Kilobyte.
and today with a special guest. Do you mind introducing yourself, Clickbait?
Hi guys, my name is Clickbait. During the war, I was an Autobot technical specialist. I was a member of the espionage division with the Autobots, and now that everybody is chilling, I work in cybersecurity and anti-crime.
Right on. And what's your alt mode, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. My alt mode is an MQ-1 Predator. It's an Earth vehicle.
Ah, yes. We're
Have
Yeah.
you visited Earth?
I have. It's a really cute little planet.
Oh, I haven't been there. I should visit it once in a while.
You really should be
We'll
careful.
go there someday.
Do definitely recommend, unless you reach out to one of the Autobot outposts still stationed out there, definitely stay in your alt mode and assume an Earth alt mode because some of the humans get really touchy. They don't like it.
Noted.
Especially right now. I wouldn't want a human to touch me either.
Yeah, but you definitely don't want them to touch you with any sort of missiles or projectile weapons either. It's not usually
That
fun.
too.
I poke all
Oh.
the buttons.
Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you guys for inviting me.
Moving on with our comic discussion for today's episode takes us to IDW, Transformers, Ghostbusters. And as always, spoiler warning. So if you haven't read it already, listeners, we highly recommend, do we highly recommend this one? Sure. Highly recommend go back, read it, and then come listen to the podcast. Now, Clickbait, do you mind reading us a quick summary of the comics to the listeners?
Sure. So, in an alternate universe where both the Transformers and the Ghostbusters exist, the Autobots have fled Cybertron only to have a ghostly god destroy it shortly after. We follow a brand new character named Ecto, along with the ghost of Starscream, which is a perfect choice, by the way, Optimus Prime, and the original Ghostbusters team, Pete, Ray, Egon, Winston, as they team up to stop the impending doom coming to Earth. As always, this information was taken from the wiki.
Thank you so much. Computron, do you mind giving us the facts? And Killlight, do you mind giving us some trivia afterwards?
Can do.
Ooh, I see what we're doing here. We're mixing stuff up. Yeah. So for the facts, there are 5 total comics. The first issue was released June 26, 2019, while the 5th was released October 2nd, 2019. The writer was Eric Burnham, and the artist was Dan Schoening, and colors by Luis Antonio Delgado.
Okay, now time for some trivia. Before we begin, it might be worth going over the Ghostbusters' own history with IDW Publishing. Much like IDW's Transformers output, the team has starred in a variety of ongoing and one-shots since 2009, forming a long-running universe that picks up around 1994, 5 years after the events of Ghostbusters 2, and 3 years after Ghostbusters the video game. Unlike IDW Transformers comics, however, which relegate the vast majority of its crossovers like Mars Attacks, Star Trek, etc. into various micro-continuities entirely divorced from its primary universe, Ghostbuster took the opposite track and has worked a variety of crossovers directly into its canon. Over the course of their adventures, the Ghostbusters have encountered a variety of other characters, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their animated alter egos, and even their female counterparts.
Ooh.
Through this, Transformers comic is one of the few crossovers achieved without any interdimensional travel taking place. And for our final trivia, the comic ends with a note that simply reads, Ectotron will return. Author Eric Burnham teased the possibility of a sequel miniseries several times, although the abrupt, inexplicable disappearance of all IDW publishing Ghostbuster materials from digital storefronts in early 2021, making this the last IDW Ghostbusters book as of this writing.
Mysterious.
Let's see what happens.
Well, shall we get started?
We shall.
Indeed.
All right. So we
Indeed.
start off on Cybertron, an alternative reality Cybertron, by the way. And we have a traveler, much like the one at the end of the first Ghostbusters movie, but robotic. Very interesting. And tells Megatron to choose their destructor. And we end up with what?
A huge Starscream that
Giant Starscream.
Giant Starscream.
And he has like the heads of how many? I know it was Megatron, Shockwave, and Soundwave. I don't remember if there were any other heads. He has like this big chain
Jetfire?
necklace.
No,
with, like,
let's not
heads.
forget his crown here.
Has
Okay, that's the
Optimus
important
Prime.
piece.
That's fair. Oh, he does have Optimus's head too, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And also the Matrix.
It's perfect.
Oh yeah, he did have the Matrix.
So alternative to like the giant mushroom, not mushroom,
Mr. Puff?
marshmallow man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Puff. We get a giant Starscream, which I find is hilarious. I don't know
Yeah.
about you.
At least Mr. Puff is cute. You know?
You're saying Giant Starscream isn't cute?
No, it's kind of terrifying.
It was nice how they followed like the same way that the Ghostbusters went. How, the Ghostbuster, I think it was which one thought of it? I think it was it Ray? No, it was Egon, I think, that thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And then they reference in this comic that Megatron's like, I'm not choosing, and then they're like, you have chosen, and Starscream's like, oops.
Of course it would be Starscream.
Of course it's
Yeah.
Starscream. I'm not sure why, if anybody is surprised.
He's definitely the Egon of the group, I have to say.
Yeah.
He's somebody.
He wants to be somebody. Let's put that. Let's put that in that place.
Has become a this Starscream episode.
Following up with that, we are quickly introduced to the Autobots who are in space on the Ark, along with our new crossover bot, Electronic Kilobyte?
It's Ectronimus Diametron.
Thank you.
Not Ek.
Very long name. Anyway,
Very cool name.
What
cool.
and their personality, it feels, at least to me, feels like a mix of all the original Ghostbusters mashed into one. What is your thoughts on this character?
I like it. I like that he's kind of sweet and thoughtful because he kind of wants to help, but then everybody teases him, so just kind of feel sad for him.
He feels very new to the group, like he hasn't quite figured out the dynamic or found his place in with the other Autobots yet.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Right.
he's just a nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
Says Computron.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
He needs to know his place, and that's below me.
For the
Wow.
listeners, the theme for this new bot is everyone makes fun of their name for being too long, so they kind of make them shorten it to Ectotron. So if you hear us refer to Ectotron, they're the same person. Just so that you know.
Yeah, even Optimus does it, and it's like, really, Optimus?
Yeah.
Why?
This poor bot can't catch a break. We then eventually meet the Earthling Ghostbusters. What are your thoughts on this introduction? It's quite interesting. Clickbait, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I felt like their reaction was about how you'd expect it to go after everything that the Ghostbusters have seen. I mean, facing off against a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, meeting a relatively docile Transformer. I mean, it was their car, so they were a little bit surprised, but I felt like their reaction was kind of what you would expect from Spectre fighting humans.
Yeah, like if you're fighting Ghost, I don't think anything else would surprise you.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty numb.
I think you kind of get numb when you first meet Slimer, and he's just like, okay, this is the worst of the worst.
I've seen it all now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then they meet a Ghost Starscream, which is, I want to say, is a perfect inclusion into a Ghostbusters crossover. Because, like, how could you not involve a Ghost Starscream?
It's
Yeah.
An
classic.
egotistical
It's a
ghost
classic.
Starscream.
I mean, is there another kind of
Is there
Ghost
any
Starscream?
type of Starscream? Not even Ghost Starscream. Is there any other type of Starscream? Exactly,
that.
Computron. Exactly.
I guess the only other version would be like the one from Armada, the one who has like the change of heart and joins the Autobots. But then it's quickly, spoiler, killed off. Moving on. So
You might as well just ruin Rogue One while you're at it.
they all die. The Ghostbusters
Oh no!
not surprised or even intimidated to see a large robot, which I think we just touched up on and makes sense. But they work together and they catch Ghost Starscream, but then they quickly release him from his ghost trap, and he tells us how Cybertron was destroyed, and we get a glimpse of the chaos that unfolded. What are your thoughts on what happened on Cybertron? What happened to the Decepticons who were left behind?
I was shocked, but I'm like, well, I guess the war's over.
I guess that's one way to end it.
Yeah.
I felt like they didn't spend enough time on it. They kind of rushed through what happened, and you never really get a whole lot of details about what happened. It's kind of just like flashback, everybody's dead, boom. And they don't really go into it. Like Megatron really only has a brief exchange about what's going on. And they went about the Traveler being there and the whole like, oh, Gozer wants the destruction of your world a little bit differently than they did in the Ghostbusters, the Earth movie. And so it felt a little bit interesting and honestly kind of rushed.
Yeah, I could
I
see
agree. Compito?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sure, I agree. It's just that, man, like, I really, really wasn't wanting Megatron. You know, in the beginning when he meets the Traveler and, like, he's just like, okay, I want to be a ghost. I really thought it would take a little bit more convincing, and I was kind of disappointed in that.
Yeah, definitely.
The one that turned him into a ghost was not the Traveler. That was the one that was
Or
destroying the planet.
Alkazik or Alzik or
Kremzik.
No, it's
Kremzik. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is a famous pest of the Transformers. I like how they look like a D&D mage. Like, I feel like that's a different take, and I enjoy that.
Yeah. I think this is the first time I'm seeing.
Like Orko.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's another Earth cartoon.
All these are Earth cartoons.
It reminds me of I don't know, he's
Yeah.
like a little sprite. Earth culture is very fascinating.
It is. Again, I'm surprised they've made it this far.
Mhm.
Anyway.
To the year 2022. I feel like recently they moved over.
Another cycle around the sun, like, again.
I thought it was interesting how Optimus, given his treachery, we should not believe anything he says.
Right. There is a lot of trust almost immediately in this comic, and that's just like the first part. I think later on, Optimus immediately like trusts the humans right off the bat, and like I think they even say is like, "Oh, you're just playing along with us," and then they're proven right. Very interesting. So after some back and forthing with Pete, Starscream is then put back into a ghost box, and we soon discover some more Autobots are on their way to Earth. Hopefully Grimlock can join them. I know he won't, but hopefully he'll join them. What are your thoughts on this? The other Autobots who have not come to Earth yet?
Yeah, I think they should help.
Can we talk about the phone call?
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the phone call.
Well, you know, according to Pete, E.T. did phone home.
That was hilarious. I love
And
that reference.
they fixed Ectotron's little antenna, right? And obviously, what better person to put on the communications team than Grimlock, right?
My boy.
Because Ecto was calling in, and Grimlock answered, and we proceed to see, just like from SpongeBob, the whole Krusty Krab scenario, where it's like, is this the Krusty Krab? And then Grimlock goes, no, this is Grimlock.
I did pick up that reference to the cartoon. It's very good. I like it. I enjoy it.
Grimlock as a comms tech was definitely an interesting choice on Prime's part.
Yeah, probably not the best move Prime has done.
Probably out of desperation.
Yeah.
Probably giving him something to do.
He's probably breaking too much stuff.
It probably was a good idea, because like if you're escaping Cybertron, you're not necessarily expecting any communications, right? So just make them useful.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I really enjoy this reference. But listeners, before we continue, let's take a quick ad break.
1, 2, 3,
shot! Oh, that's strong.
Nah, that's nothing. You should have seen me back in the day. I could have drank out the whole bar.
Hey, Heximus. Haven't seen you at the bar for a while.
Hey guys, what are you guys doing?
Oh, Onyx was just saying he could outdrink a whole bar. You want to try a shot of Energon?
Sure. Oh, ugh, why did I even try that? I'm not a robot. Ugh, The battery acid taste in my mouth. Oh, hey, you guys should try this.
What's that?
It's nightmare fuel. Strongest stuff in the afterlife and existence.
I'll see about that. Pour me a glass. God, that's what I thought.
Oh, my Primus, you killed him!
Lightweight.
Calm down, Kilo. He's just unconscious and got knocked off his high turbo horse.
Purchasing nightmare fuel, you agree to the following and will not sue if you have compulsive mad ravings, hallucinations, screaming. If you see someone else in your reflection or in your dreams, please avoid sleeping. Do not consume more than 13 ounces over the course of 6 days.
And welcome back. So, eventually Optimus comes to Earth, and I want to say I really enjoy his graffitied version. I hope they make a toy. What's your thoughts?
I like the graffiti, but I like the new white, green, and red coloring better.
Oh yeah?
I was more of a fan of tatted out Optimus than I was about the green and white.
What do you think, Clickbait?
I think they put a couple of references in the graffiti, but I think they kind of missed out on a chance to throw a lot more references in there.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, like, aside from using it as something to put references in, it really didn't serve a purpose in the story. So I thought it was interesting that they put it in there and then didn't use it to, like, sneak references in. It felt kind of just like, oh, let's just graffiti Optimus for no apparent reason.
Yeah, he's a punk prime
Yeah,
now.
punk.
He's got the
Optimus Punk.
swagger.
He's got a reference that says 84, which I believe is a direct Earth year, when the first Ghostbusters movie came out.
And they just released the Transformers comic 1984, I believe, followed after Ghostbusters, so that may have been a foreshadowing as to which comic crossover line was coming out next. I guess it wasn't a crossover. Which little spin-off series they were doing next.
Right, and I believe the phone number that's on his left, our viewing of the right, is the phone number from Ghostbusters, but I will fact check.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that is correct.
But yeah, it's interesting, but Kilobyte likes the new one, huh? When he's all painted white. I did see, however, there was a miscoloring, just a little bit down where it shows he's already white before he is then spray painted white.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting.
Anyway,
Yeah. So there's like 2 panels below where we first see that he's all graffitied out, that his arm is white before it's spray painted white.
Oh.
Anyway, interesting stuff. At some point, the ghost of Starscream escapes from the Ghostbusters once again, and at this time reading the comics, who did you think helped him out?
Slimer. He was just sitting right there across, so I was just like, oh, that little Slimer.
I figured it was going to be another con. Somebody else who'd, like, gotten out.
Yeah.
Maybe Shockwave. Shockwave tended to look after his own interests.
Oh, true.
I wasn't sure. I'm like, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, and something bad does happen. We are then reintroduced to the Crimzeek character, the one that looks like the D&D mage, or the one from He-Man. What's their name again?
Orko?
Yes, who turns out was the one who saved them from the Ghostbusters and saved them from the Traveler by turning them into ghosts before the destruction of Cybertron. What are your thoughts on this character at this point?
I like the design when he like takes his hood off, and I think he looks pretty cool. It's an interesting turn of events of deciding to become a ghost and kind of leaving in a ghost form, then kind of fight for the destruction of Cybertron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting the vibe from the what was the name of the Phantom, wizards from ROM versus Transformers.
The Wraiths?
The Wraiths.
aliens?
I was getting that kind of vibe from this guy. Like, he kind of just started reminding me of the Wraiths.
Oh, I could see some of that.
Yeah.
So eventually, they defeat this character, which in turn releases all of the Decepticon ghosts that he had held inside him. I don't want to pretend to understand magic, which turns out to be Starscream yet again, Megatron, Soundwave, and Shockwave. And a scuffle unfolds. And the Autobots, Optimus Ectotron, the Ghostbusters fight the ghost versions of these Decepticons. What are your favorite fight scenes from this, or scenes in general?
I like it when Soundwave summons the cassettes. I think
Yeah.
adding the
That was good.
distinguished coloring to their spirits or ghost forms looks cool and different, and you can determine they're the cassettes. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I do like the final fight between Optimus and Megatron.
Yeah.
I,
Anyone else?
well, thanks, Kilo. All you had to do was pick one.
He's excited. He's new.
I was not, did it feel like that they brought in the Bayverse Megatron into this just out of nowhere, kind of?
We'll get there. But yes, it felt
That
like
was
it was
interesting. Yeah.
a mixture of either the Bayverse or the Transformers Prime version of Megatron. But we'll get there. That's spoilers.
Spoilers come to
This whole
Tron.
thing
What
is
else to talk
spoilers.
about then? Kilo took up too much stuff.
I thought it was cute how Soundwave was coming to all like the different conclusions throughout the entire thing. That seemed very in character for him. But I felt like how they did some of Optimus's lines and Megatron's lines felt a little bit out of character for the way they were trying to take specifically Megatron. Optimus, it seemed like they were taking him down a little bit more of like they were really embracing the alternate universe Optimus that's more lighthearted, a little bit more friendly, less stoic. But the Megatron that they started out with was very typical to what you usually see. And then they kind of branched out from there and made him a little bit, they gave him some quirks that didn't really make sense for the character arc.
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially when he makes fun of Ectotron's name as well. He's like, "Oh, it's too hard. I'll just call you Ectotron." I'm like, "Really, Optimus? You too? That's not. It's not a nice thing to do."
Right. No, I agree. And then we'll get to the part Computron was talking about. So eventually, Megatron finds out he can possess other bots. And poor Ectotron, he is the one that gets possessed. And what happens is the Ghostbusters come up with a scheme and make him vomit. I didn't know we could do that. He obviously
I
knew
didn't know we could do that.
And he was just vomiting this purple goo. And we get Megatron's final form, I guess, if you want to call it that. And he looks a lot different.
This isn't even my final form.
Exactly.
It's a trump card.
It looks like a weird mixture of a Bayverse and the Prime Universe Megatron mashed together. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
How did he get a power up and be in the middle of a fight? It's just doesn't add up.
That came out of nowhere. But I feel like I've seen that concept art for some form of him before, whether it was like an animated concept art or maybe it was like a War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron concept. But I feel like I had seen something to that effect before. But I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, if we find an image, we'll throw it up on the YouTube version for sure. And if that's the case, that's what you viewers are seeing right now. If not, you're just staring into darkness.
Here, have a picture of a little kitty.
Yeah, there you go. Any other thoughts that you want to talk about the comic? We can circle back to something else, or we can talk more about the ending.
I want to cover the ending, but
yeah, go ahead.
I like that Ectotronimus decides to embark on his own journey and capture ghosts in space.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like they could have a lot of fun with that.
I do have to say the best line out of this entire comic is when Grimlock says, "He ain't afraid of no ghost."
Yes, that was really cute.
Grimlock ain't afraid of no ghost.
All right. So if that is it, let's talk about Rod Star rating. So out of 5 Rod Stars, and we can do halves as well, Clickbait, what would you rate this? All 5 issues.
How about you guys go first?
Oh, goodness. Hoping the guest would go first so I can figure out how harsh I can be. Killbot, you go first.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. So I really like the Ectronimus character, and I really like the art style they use. There's some weird shapes there, but I really like it. The story not that strong compared to other comics we've read and other crossovers. So I'm kind of feeling a 2-star rating for Rod Stars.
A 2?
A 2, yes.
Perfect. All right, Clickbait. You have an example. You're going next.
Okay. Well, I felt like it was cute, but I felt like they couldn't really decide what it exactly, whether or not it was just kind of going to be like, oh, this is just something that we're doing for like humans that are fans of this, or whether this is something that we really want to take in a serious direction for like moving on a new storyline, branching out. And I felt like they weren't true to multiple characters, so it's out of I can give only halves, right? Can't go any like into more detail than a half.
You
Yep.
can go up to 5. 5 and then halves in between.
I'm also going to give it a 2 because I don't feel like it rated at 2.5, but I also don't feel like it rated a 1.5 because they had some good references and they had some good stuff, but it, in my opinion, did not have good enough character sticking to what the characters should be for a 2.5. That was poorly said, but
No, understandable. Computron, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I was kind of disappointed in a lot of things. One of the things especially was we never got into details about the Traveler, especially how it was in a bot form, and we never came back to Cybertron. I thought that those were some of the things that while I was reading this we were going to tackle, but it was just mostly the Earth stuff. I know they left it to be continued, but I kind of getting a vibe they're not going to do it.
yeah.
And those were some big plot holes that I was kind of expecting to be filled, or being excited to be filled, and I got disappointed. So I'm actually gonna go 1.5.
1.5, right on.
A bold bot.
Yeah, all of your points are absolutely valid. I think the only other part I would like to add on that is like I got to see Grimlock, so
So because of that, it just goes up.
That's an extra star.
Oh my god.
because that it's gonna go to a 2.5, but I can't go any higher. I could
Wow.
absolutely go lower. But I can't go any higher than 2.5. And I'm only going to do that because I know you guys did too, and I don't want to be a copycat or anything like that.
Oh, really?
I'm
But
the
I do.
I'm the
I do
negative
agree.
side here.
No, I do agree. I enjoy the new character. I think they're interesting. But again, I don't think they stuck true to Optimus. Like, he felt like he was also being a jerk to Ectotron.
Mhm.
And then, like, they did the Ghostbusters relatively well. I give them that. But the story and the plot, I felt like they were trying to do as many things at once, and it just kind of fell apart. And they didn't have time to do the things they set up in the beginning. So for that, I'll 2.5.
I do have to say I'm kind of glad that they kind of kept some of Bill Murray's sass in Pete a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
The characters were great. It's just the plot for me really destroyed my interest in the comic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Thank you, Clickbait. Where can listeners find you on the social medias?
On the social medias, I finally got my act together and got my Instagram and my Twitter the same. Rogue Trish, OGUE, like the Dungeons and Dragons class. Rogue Trish. That's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
We hope that you had fun. We had fun.
Thank you
And
guys for
maybe
having
we'll have
me.
you on the podcast again. How's
I'd
that?
love to come back.
Absolutely.
It's a
Thanks
very
for coming.
cute little bar. Very cute. I haven't frequented it before, so it's a nice spot.
Yes, it's a good time. So, alrighty. So let's talk about our current giveaway we are doing in celebration of season 2 of the podcast. We are currently giving away a Transformers 86 line jazz toy. The winner will be announced on the Earth calendar month and date of January 24th, 2022. Here's how you can enter. First, you will need to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, each counting as a single entry. You can earn bonus entries to win by leaving a comment or retweeting this episode. So good luck out there. And since you are a guest, feel free to enter to win if you want. Clickbait.
Woohoo!
Computron, do you mind taking us out?
Absolutely. If you've enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. We hope you all are staying safe out there, and thank you so much for listening. And as always, till all are one.
Yo, R1.
R1.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Swerve's Bar Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Swerve's Bar. If you are interested in more content, try checking out the spin-off D&D Transform and Rollout Rise of the World Killers. Let's tune in for a preview now.
I too live in a small town. I'm just a lonely girl. Living in a lonely world.
Living in a lonely world.
I took the midnight train going anywhere.
Did you see streetlights?
That is the intro.
What about people?
No, they're all Decepticons.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That escalated quickly.
Very stereotypical.
Oh, you're gonna have to edit that one out, man.
This is one of the most entertaining D&D games I've been in a while. I'm just gonna say.
Exhilarating. There is also a YouTube channel with bonus content. Link will be provided below. End transmission.